Hello, welcome back. I'm Statman Dave, and today I'm going to be taking you through my 21-22 Premier League predictions. Before you go any further, get into the comments below and give me yours. Who's going to win the league? Who's going to come in the top four? Who's going to sit in mid-table? Who's going to be first sacked? And also, who's going to get relegated? Remember to subscribe if you're new, smash the like button, and come and find us over on Twitch. Next season, we'll be streaming Monday to Friday throughout the season, so don't miss out. But anyway, let's get this party started. But before we get started on my favourites Raw relegation, I want to get your predictions in the comments below. Who's going to get relegated, who's going to be in the top four, who's going to lift the title, and which manager will be sacked first, and of course, who's going to win the Golden Boot. Unfortunately for the new boys, I think all promoted sides to the Premier League will get relegated. Norwich's squad isn't as good as the last time they won the Championship, only to finish bottom of the Premier League. And to make matters worse, they've sold their best player. Emi Buendia was on another level last season. Not only did he finish the season with 31 goal involvements, but he created 42% more chances than the next best player in the Championship. If Norwich had hung on to the Argentine, they might have a chance, but without him, I think they're doomed from the start. Billy Gilmore will get valuable minutes on loan, whilst the likes of Campbell, Aarons and Pukki will all give a decent account of themselves. But new signing, Milo Rashica, is the guy I want to watch. He was on RB Leipzig's shortlist to replace Timo Werner. Even if Norwich do get relegated, Rashica will stay in the Premier League for years to come. Watford, meanwhile, are in a similar situation to Norwich. Relegated in the 2019-20 season, Watford have returned to the top flight with basically the same squad that was relegated, and I see this season ending the same way. They've recruited reasonably well, adding young, sellable talent for cheap with 23-year-old Emmanuel Dennis and 22-year-old Imran Louza, who's probably the pick of the bunch for just 12 million. Watford's hopes on survival we pinned on last season's top scorer, Ismalia Sarr. And I think the lack of creativity the Watford squad has got an impatient board will cost them. Brentford are the only ones that I've got some hope for. Teams that play five at the back tend to translate well into the Premier League, with likes of Sheffield United and Wolves being prime examples in recent years. That being said, they both won their respective competitions and were more complete than Thomas Frank's Bees. In terms of personnel, I think Ivan Toney will definitely score goals again this season. 41 goal involvements at any level is impressive, but given that 8 of his goals came from inside the 6-yard box, I think he's got a real poacher instinct that will nick a few points for Brentford. Sergi Canos is another player I think could do well, a versatile but creative midfielder. Canos can play all over the pitch, but has spent a lot of time in the wing-back positions. If Brentford have any hope of staying up, they'll need to get Canos and Toney firing. Their focus on statistics and analytics will give them the best edge of the promoted sides, but I think it won't be enough to not see them back in the Championship by 2022. Narrowly avoiding the drop in my predictions are Burnley, Southampton and Brighton. Burnley had a tough end to the season and lost 7 out of their last 9 games. They've also got a tricky start to this season, facing 5 of last season's top 10. In the opening 6 games as well, but without top scorer Chris Wood. The New Zealand international has been at the Olympics and may need time off before the season starts. But Burnley's biggest issue is they haven't improved their first team after finishing a place above the drop zone. Don't get me wrong, they've recruited well, adding 2 young centre-backs who they hope could replace Ben Mee and James Tarkowski. They just need something extra to fire them up their table, but at least they'll be safe. Southampton really concerns me. In 2021, no side picked up fewer Premier League points than the Saints, with them conceding more goals in that period than anyone else. They've done well to address their major problem at fullback, particularly with left-back Romain Perraud, who's a big improvement on Ryan Bertrand. A tough tackling, attacking fullback, the Frenchman will add much needed aggression and creativity to Southampton's left-hand side. His 60 pass-creating actions from open play last season was more than any Southampton player managed, whilst his 108 tackles plus interceptions would have ranked him 4th in the Saints squad. This season is arguably the biggest in Hasenhüttl's career. The Austrian managed to turn things around last time when they got a bit choppy by reverting to his favoured 4-4-2. But now that's failing him, he needs to come up with some new ideas. The big caveat here is Danny Ings. Despite looking for a move to a bigger club, he's still lethal on his day, and if he can stay fit like he did in the 1920 season, the Saints should shoot up the league, but that is a big if. But now let's talk about the sack race. With a tricky first 8 games of the season, Ralph Hasenhüttl could find himself in real danger if he doesn't pick up points against the likes of Burnley, Watford and Aston Villa. I also think Patrick Vieira could come under early pressure, with Palace investing well in young talent and the new exciting attacker in Michael Olise. Expectations could be set high at Sellers Park, but with an opening 8 fixtures that include the likes of Chelsea, Spurs, Liverpool, Leicester and Arsenal, Vieira may struggle to deliver. But my pick to be sacked first is Isco. With just 38 games of professional management under his belt, Isco is a baby in the managerial world. The issue for coaches at Watford is that they are the most trigger-happy club in the league. As soon as things start to look bad, the Hornets board will make changes, starting with the manager, which is why Isco is my favourite to be sacked first. Back to the table, and Brighton will want to start climbing up the league. According to expected points last season, the Seagulls should have finished in 5th place and been 20 points better off. However, in reality, they finished 16th. If they can perform as is expected in terms of shot stopping and finishing chances, Brighton will shoot up the league. And with Robert Sanchez in goal from the start, they've got a chance to do so. The concern is up front. Brighton, by and large, have recruited well in the Premier League, and this season is no different, with the signing of Enoch and Wipu arriving from Salzburg. The one position they haven't cracked is up front, and the position is hurting them the most. If Graham Potter could sign a Tammy Abraham, Danny Ings or even at Ivan Toney, then I think they'd be a top half side. But their track record suggests they can't, so they'll be stuck in the bottom half. In 14th, I've got Crystal Palace. As mentioned in the sack race, Palace have made some excellent signings, with Conor Gallagher, Joachim Andersen, Mark Guay and Michael Olise all arriving this summer. They are positioning themselves as a stepping stone club for the London area, which could help them unearth some gems. What will hold them back, however, is the appointment of Patrick Vieira. With no real playing style, Vieira has struggled to make an impact as a coach and was sacked after stagnating at Nice and losing 5 consecutive games in all competitions. This constant chopping and changing to find a winning system is what will stop Palace from moving up the bracket in the league. Although Vieira's eye for talent and playing experience could attract talented players from London. Newcastle will finish in 13th thanks to forwards Callum Wilson and Allan Saint-Maximin. Newcastle performed well last season with Callum Wilson as the Magpies picked up 83% of their Premier League wins with Wilson in the side, so keeping him fit will be crucial. Meanwhile, Allan Saint-Maximin has stated that he wants to be in France's World Cup squad, so expect a highly motivated, dynamic dribbler who could carry Steve Bruce to a mid-table finish. The 5 teams in 12th to 8th could really do anything this season, and are highly unpredictable, but I've gone with Everton in 12th, Villa in 11th, Wolves in 10th, West Ham in 9th and Leeds in 8th. Everton's appointment of Rafa Benitez is almost as uninspiring as their transfer business. Picking up Premier League proven talent in Damari Gray, Andros Townsend and Asmir Begovic couldn't be further from last season's exceptional window of James, Allen and Decore under Carlo Ancelotti. Benitez's Everton will be defensively solid and will look to play to their strengths by getting the ball wide and crossing it to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He could be a real shout for your FPL teams, especially given Richarlison's involvement at the Copa America and Olympics with Brazil. Despite this, a lack of progression in possession will ultimately hold the Toffees back as they go down as my underachievers for the season. Aston Villa and Wolves, on the other hand, could be 2 of the most exciting teams to watch in the Premier League. Aston Villa have made some big moves in the transfer window, adding Leon Bailey and Emi Buendia to Ollie Watkins will be a lot of fun, but I think there'll be a lot of pressure on the new boys to replace Jack Grealish. Honestly, if Grealish stayed, I think Aston Villa could generally break into the top 6, but for his own career, it'd be crazy not to move to Manchester City at this point. And the loss of Grealish, not to mention John Terry, is what keeps Villa in the bottom half of the table for me. Under Bruno Lage, I expect Wolves to become a lot more free-flowing in attack. They've got some seriously talented forwards, with Raul Jimenez returning back from injury, linking up with Daniel Podence, Adama Traore, Fabio Silva, Pedro Neto and Francisco Trincao. At Benfica, Lage deployed a 4-4-1-1 with João Felix as a second striker, and that's something I'd love to see similar at Wolves, but in pre-season he's gone more of a 3-4-3, it's a little bit more reserved, and that's why I expect a solid 10th place finish. West Ham in 9th might seem harsh, but last season's 6th place finish was a massive overachievement from the Hammers. With their squad in its current state, I think they're a little bit over-reliant on Mikel Antonio up front. If they could get Jesse Lingard back, maybe they'll be knocking on the door of 6th and 7th place again. But with the Europa League football, I think the Irons are a little light through the middle. That being said, David Moyes proved to be excellent at maintaining a league position during his time at Everton, so don't expect West Ham to be too far off the pace. Leeds in 8th is my biggest gamble. Are they a very good side, or will they suffer from second season syndrome? Let me know what you think in the comments, but I think they're a top side. They've hardly recruited, replacing Alioski with Juno Fimpo and added Jack Harrison on a permanent basis, but Diego Llorente will be like a new signing. The Spaniard played just 91 minutes in the Premier League from signing for Leeds until the middle of February. But since that time, coming into the side, Leeds have been exceptional. In fact, since the 23rd of February, only Liverpool picked up more points in the league than Leeds, and I expect them to carry this form into the new season. Whilst they're a known threat, Leeds under Bielsa are very difficult to stop. And with a more regular schedule this time round, they could be even more intense than last season. I think the top 7 are broken up into 3 clear groups: 7th to 5th, 4th to 2nd, and 1st. In 5th, I think we'll find Leicester City, 6th will be Arsenal, and 7th will be Spurs. Despite a new manager in Nuno Espirito Santo, I think a major lift in form will be hard to come by, thanks to the loss of Harry Kane. I think Nuno is a good appointment for Spurs, especially with the loss of Kane and how now they're extremely well suited to a counter-attacking approach. We could see the best out of Son, Lucas Moura and Dele Alli, who all thrive on space. But what could hold Spurs back is an overall plan for Nuno Espirito's side. But I think a 7th place finish in a transitional year isn't too bad. Arsenal, meanwhile, have to come out of their transition this year. Mikel Arteta has been given a bit of leeway after a difficult 18 months of squad trimming, but now has been backed in the transfer market, so has to start delivering progress. Arsenal create a lot of their own problems with simple defensive lapses and mistakes in possession, but the additions of Sambi Lokonga and Ben White should see a long way to reduce these errors and snatch 6th from Spurs. Adding a creator in like James Maddison, however, will set them up for future success, guaranteeing a top 6 finish. Personally, I'd choose Aouar for a third of the price, but Maddison will produce results from day one, something Arteta is relying on. Even if Leicester do sell Maddison to Arsenal, I don't think that'll be enough of a swing to cost them 5th place. Last season, Leicester coped well without their number 10, and arguably were more reliant on the dynamic running of Harvey Barnes or the goal scoring of Iheanacho. They've also got Youri Tielemans, who could adopt a more attacking position, especially with the arrival of Samore. The Foxes have had another stellar transfer window, improving their squad, replacing Jamie Vardy with Patterson Daka, adding that to their consistency and evolution under Rodgers, and for me, it's hard to see them finishing outside the top 5. And finally, let's talk about the top 4. I think if the window shuts today, anyone could win the title. Chelsea won the Champions League last season, and since Tuchel's appointment, have more expected points than anyone else in the league. Liverpool have got their best defenders returning and have reinforced the position one of the best talents in Europe, whilst Manchester United finished 2nd last season and massively improved their starting 11. Unfortunately, the window isn't shutting today, and it looks like Manchester City are about to add the best goal scorer and 2nd best creator to their squad. And with that team, City will win the league at a canter. Kane will probably win the Golden Boot, probably breaking loads of records in the process. In terms of predictions, for the last 3, I think Chelsea, alongside Man City, have the best squad in the competition, but Chelsea are lacking a striker. Kai Havertz and Timo Werner will share their role, but alone won't be enough to overcome United and Liverpool over 38 games. So for me, it's Chelsea in 4th. However, with Chelsea now looking nailed on to re-sign Romelu Lukaku, I think that completely changes things, and they'll be Pep's closest challengers. 3rd and 4th is down to the 2 most successful clubs in England. This really comes down to who's got the fewest questions against them. With the return of Gomez, Matip and Van Dijk, Liverpool could be back to their title-winning best when they picked up 197 points over 2 seasons. However, since then, Van Dijk has had a major injury and simply can't be expected to continue playing at his insanely high level from the start. Klopp will also want one of Gomez, Matip or Konate to play the majority of minutes to ease the Dutchman back. But the trio all have had their injury and fitness concerns over their careers. Liverpool have also lost Gini Wijnaldum, who played in basically every single game. Whilst there are options who can come in and take his place, like Henderson, Keita, Curtis Jones, or even Harvey Elliott, they're unlikely to elevate Liverpool to a greater level next season. They do have a number of positives, like the end of season form, notably of Trent Alexander-Arnold and the consistency of Andy Robertson and Mo Salah, but there's a concern over Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino's poor form. Meanwhile, at Manchester United, they were undoubtedly the second best team over the course of last season and have massively strengthened with the arrivals of Rafael Varane and Jadon Sancho. There are also questions about how players adapt to new leagues, but the pair are world-class players that will take Solskjaer's side up a level. The only question mark is who is Manchester United's number 9, but with options like Anthony Martial, Mason Greenwood and Edison Cavani, Solskjaer should be well covered in that position. So for me, it's Liverpool in 4th, Manchester United in 3rd and Chelsea in 2nd, but honestly this could be any order. These 4 clubs have broken away from the rest of the Premier League, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 3 or even 4 teams in this season's Champions League semis. Last season, the only question marks against Chelsea was their ability to score goals, but the return of Lukaku really fixes this. The Belgian has averaged 17.8 goals per season in his senior career and has scored more than 20 in his last 2. But over a 38-game season, I think Manchester City have got too much quality. That's before you add in Kane and Grealish. So that's why I think they're going to win the Premier League and it'll be number 4 for Pep Guardiola. But anyway guys, what do you think? Let me know your predictions in the comments below. I've been Statman Dave. Come and find us over on Twitch Monday to Friday and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel.